Greetings. Today I'm doing something a little bit different and bringing you into my office, into my library, and just going through a few books that I have on genocide studies to try to generate some ideas. A lot of times when I'm trying to think about what to study or how to integrate different ideas, what I like to do is pick up books and journals and read through them, glance through them, browse through them, try to get some ideas. So let me maybe mention a few of the books I have, and again trying to put different ideas together, especially when you're looking at your comparative analysis. And I'll just read you some of the titles there. There's kind of an overview of the Holocaust Chronicles. It's really a good introduction. Some of the other books there, The Nazi War on Cancer by Proctor, and Proctor's Racial Hygiene. Right there is a specific area of interest, and that is medical crimes committed during the Holocaust. Up here you can see I have a book, Auschwitz, by Nizilsi, and he was a physician that was forced to do work in Auschwitz. A couple other books there, The Boy, A Holocaust Story by Porat, Rethinking the Holocaust, Bauer's work. Elie Wiesel, The Night Trilogy, really some excellent work there. And then another book by Rees, Auschwitz. So you can see I have an interest in looking at the actual organizational aspects of the concentration camps and also the medical crimes that were committed. There's Justice at Nuremberg, so looking at the Nuremberg trials, a book by Lacour, Anti-Semitism. Simon Wiesenthal's The Sunflower really is a moral, ethical book that brings the reader in, that has a lot of different responses to a question on what would you do in a particular situation involved in the Holocaust. Beckers Escape from Evil, which is an overview of the concept and idea of evil. Right there I have Browning's Ordinary Men and Daniel Jonah Goldhagen's Hitler's Willing Executioners. Both address the same question but from different viewpoints, that what type of person or type of people ended up becoming genocidal killers. There's Robert J. Lifton's work, The Nazi Doctors, which is basically an amazing work as Dr. Lifton interviewed Nazi doctors many years after the Holocaust. Moving over here, book Remembering Survival, Inside the Nazi Slave Labor Camp, a more recent book by Christopher Browning, Longer Riches, the Holocaust, book called The Lampshade by Jacobson, and a book on anti-Semitism, some on images and photography. There's Deborah E. Lipstadt's The Eichmann Trial. So again, we can look at the actual trials if we want. Glasses, Life Unworthy of Life, Text, Defiance, which became a popular movie. And then we get into the Rwandan genocide area, and Philip Gurovich's book, We Wish to Inform You That Tomorrow We Will Be Killed with Our Families, one of the first books I really read that introduced me to the Rwandan genocide, and he just does an amazing job explaining things. Strauss's The Order of Genocide focuses on Rwanda and provides some excellent theoretical background with data. Darfur, Srebrenica, so now we get into the Darfur area. Also the Balkan region, Misha Glenny's The Balkans, very comprehensive historical analysis, and then Srebrenica, which Power discussed in her book. Crystal Knot, the Nuremberg Interviews. The Nuremberg Interviews is fascinating. They're the psychological and psychiatric reports of several of the Nazi leaders that were in prison awaiting trial. And Totem and Parsons' books, The Century of Genocide. I have two editions here, and they've updated. And again, some this is what I use in my undergrad class, which gives an overview of multiple genocides that have occurred in the last 100 years. The Genocide Studies reader I've used in courses before as well. Moving over here, I have some books that deal with conflict and war. For example, War and Sex, Getting Away with Torture, The Ballad of Abu Ghraib, Sam Harris's The Moral Landscape, State Criminality, Stay the Hand of Vengeance, some books about conflict and trials. There's Allport's, well-known book, The Nature of Prejudice, War and Peace in War. There's Semlin's book, Purify and Destroy, that I mentioned, providing an excellent model for comparative analysis of genocides or massacres. There's Why We Hate, Dozier's. There's some other paperbacks I have, I think, just taking space there. Some Freud, actually, and there has been some psychoanalytic writings on genocides. Moving over here, excuse me, I have some journals. The Holocaust, there's several genocide studies, Holocaust studies journals. This one I have right here, Genocide Studies and Prevention, relatively new journal, very, very useful. There's Waller's Becoming Evil, which provides an excellent social psychological analysis of genocide. Aaron Beck, the psychiatrist, Prisoners of Hate. Philip Zimbardo, The Lucifer Effect, which is a study of evil, and certainly many of you remember Dr. Zimbardo from his psychological studies where he set up mock prisons and watched the effects that occurred. There's White's A Century of Genocide, again an excellent historical comparative analysis. There's Alexander's et al., A Cultural Trauma and Collective Identity. This book here was really my introduction to genocide studies, The History and Sociology of Genocide by Chalk and Johansson, and it's just an amazing overview. Of course, it needs to be updated, but the whole model they use, it really is helpful. Baumeister's Evil, Inside Human Violence and Cruelty, Overview of Evil. Danner's Torture and Truth, Cultural Conspiracy, Defining the Horrific, Meeting the Shadows, The Social Psychology of Good and Evil, edited book by Miller. There's Kressel's book, Mass Hate, which I used in some of my earlier genocide courses. It's an excellent book. I wish he'd update it with another edition, but it has a wealth of theoretical comparative material in there. Human Rights and Wrongs, Fine, who is one of the well-known scholars in genocide studies, put together a really good book on human rights. The Psychology of War, the psychoanalytical study there, Nations have the Right to Kill, and Violence and Culture. Teaching about genocide issues, approaches, and resources is really a good book to use. Masters of Death, which is Richard Rhodes' book, an excellent resource on Lonnie Athens' violentization theory applied to the Holocaust. Sexual violence against Jewish women in the Holocaust, again, a rarely discussed topic. Just in the last few years, this is emerging as a theme, sex crimes during genocides. Down here, just real briefly, I have some of my serial murder books, but here's a few on genocides. Doctors from Hell, Witness to an Extreme Century, another book by Lifton. And then you can see the UN Genocide Convention, Gaeta's book. So again, looking at criminal justice response. There's Samantha Powers, two hate crime books, and teaching about genocide. So hopefully, I would suggest go to the library, go online to the library, pull some journals online, and think about ideas. That's how I get more specific ideas too, and try to see if I'm missing something. And this wraps up this video. Thank you.